Hi, I'm AJ, and this is the Navigating New Horizons podcast, the show that discovers anything and everything you'll need to succeed in high school. From study techniques to relationships and beyond, we'll uncover everything you need to know to succeed in your first year in high school. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Navigating New Horizons podcast. My name is AJ, I'm your host, and today we're just going to be going over some tips and tricks for studying and note-taking while in high school. So the first tip is time management. So there's only 24 hours in a day, and what you do with that time definitely makes a difference. The average high school student has about 35 hours per week of class time, compared to like a college student who has an average of 15 to 18 hours per week. Making sure that you have your free time under control and how to manage the extra time that you have for studying and extracurriculars and any other things that you have to do is really beneficial for you going into high school and onward into college. If you don't already do one, you can use a calendar or a planner. I use the Notes app on my phone, and on every Sunday I go into my assignments and I put the due date for each assignment, and then I put the due date and I put the assignment, I put what kind of type it is, and then an estimated time that it's going to take, and then I have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday written out, and then I just place it to where it fits into my schedule, which really helps me because it keeps me on track. It makes sure I don't forget any assignments. And if it takes longer, I can always add another section into another day and say, didn't finish this and submit, something like that. The next tip is good study habits. Making sure that you're always prepared for class, attending class every day is really important for incoming high school students. And making sure to complete your assignments before the due date is also really helpful. So say you have an essay due and the first draft is due on Friday. Your goal should be to finish the essay at least 2 to 3 days early so you can have, someone read over it. So your first draft is actually going to be your second draft. And if you complete your assignments on time, that means it's going to be less likely that you're going to have late points taken off or any deductions because of turning your assignments in late. Also, making sure to review your notes daily rather than cram for a test the night before is also really helpful. So my biology teacher in 8th grade, either 8th or 9th grade, I think, she called it her 15 minutes of fame every night. So if we did notes that day, you would have 15 minutes of fame every night, and basically you just, scan over. It's putting it back in your brain, so your brain is more likely to retain the information rather than just learning it for a test. And then another tip is to set aside quiet time. It doesn't have to be every day, but 2 to 3 times a week, an hour or two, set some time apart. Make sure you have a quiet environment, have some tea, put on some calming music. Make sure you have no distractions, whether that's at a library, a Starbucks, in your bedroom, at a desk, at a friend's house, whatever works for you. It's really helpful for me to do it with somebody else. And if we're both being productive at the same time and kind of ignoring each other, it increases my productivity tenfold. I'm not really sure why. It's just how I study, and it just works for me. So I'll always reach out to my friends. We have a big group chat. Hey, does anyone want to study tonight? They'll come over here, we'll eat dinner and then we'll study. We'll just basically put music on, ignore each other. And it's really helpful for getting a lot. Like if you have a lot of things to do, it's just really helpful that you're at your peak performance level so that you can finish your assignments on time and succeed in your classes. All right, for the third tip, we have the ability to set attainable goals. So this means basically you need to set goals only if they're attainable. So I don't know if I've talked about it on here, but there's an acronym called SMART goals. So SMART, S is specific, M is measurable, A is achievable, R is relevant, and T is time bound. So making sure that all of your goals fit within these different subcategories is really crucial to your to succeeding, because if you're creating unattainable goals and you try and act on those goals and you fail, you're not gonna do well, and it will degrade your confidence level in higher classes. So setting achievable goals is definitely a very good tip. You need to set goals only if they're attainable. Whether that means I'm going to finish paragraph 1 and 2 of my essay, and then tomorrow I'm going to review it and edit it, and then the next day I'm going to write the next 2, and then on Thursday I'm going to review the whole thing, and then on Friday I'm going to write the conclusion, and on Saturday for an hour I'm going to go through, do all my in-text citations, whatever. Just making sure that you're setting attainable goals, because if you're not, like, say you did that paper and you get home on Friday and you just got home from soccer practice and you literally crashed into bed and you fall asleep, then you didn't set achievable goals and you didn't plan your time correctly. And then on Monday, your paper's due and you can't turn it in because it's not done. So making sure to set attainable goals is a very good skill. And as you get older, setting more attainable goals for yourself will become easier. All right, tip number 4 is concentration. Making sure when you're in class, listen to your teacher and stay focused. Be sure that you understand the lesson, and if you don't understand something, you need to ask questions. No question is a stupid question, because someone else might be thinking the same thing and they're too scared to ask. So if you don't know something, you need to ask, whether that's before class, after class, right then and there. Have a notepad out, write a question down. If you don't feel comfortable raising your hand in the middle of the class, write it down. After class, say, hey, I had this question. Do you want me to email it to you, or can we talk about it right now? I can come back during lunch. There's so many people have so much social anxiety when it comes to raising their class and asking a question, because they don't want the other classmates to think that they're stupid. But if you've been paying attention, it definitely won't be a dumb question. Because if you're not paying attention and you ask a question that she or he just explained, then they might get angry at you. So just making sure to stay focused while you're in class, take notes, write down questions, and then reviewing those notes daily on a daily or every other day basis will help you retain the information better. All right, so for tip number 5, it's kind of related to tip number 4. So taking good notes. So you possibly can't write down every single thing that the teacher says or has on a PowerPoint presentation, since the average human talks at about 220 words per minute. But you don't need to write down all of the material, because some of the material you're already going to know. So that, review it that day, maybe review it the day before the test. But if you already know that information, there's no need to write it down, because the notes that you're taking, you're going to be restudying. So if there's anything that you don't know, that's what you're going to write down. And you can do this by bullet points. You can do subheadings, this topic, this topic, and this topic, and then the 3 main parts of each one. And then at the end, you're going to go back through, validate yourself after a test by going back over your notes and see if your notes was the right material, because you don't want to be learning the wrong material. And if you have a question, you can even ask a classmate to look at their notes and check with them to see if the notes are similar. And even if you're having some more trouble, you can always go up to the teacher, ask them to send you a copy of their notes or their PowerPoint presentation, and they'll be happy to do that. Usually teachers will already post the PowerPoint presentation. I know for some of my online classes, the teacher will do lectures online. So it's like they'll record on their computer the PowerPoint and then a little box with their face in it. And then that's great because you're reading it as they're talking to you about it. And if you have 2 sources of it coming into your brain, it just helps you retain the information better. So studying with a partner is also a great idea. Note-taking should be in a form that's most helpful to you. If you're a more visual person, try writing notes in different colors. You can do different color index cards, different markers or pens. Music can also be a great memory aid. So you can write a little tune to a formula, or this happened because of this and this and this, and you can put it to a song, whatever works for you. And then rewriting your notes is another strategy. It can be time consuming, but it definitely helps you retain the information better. And some students even will record their class on their phone. Like, you have to ask the teacher, of course. But, recording like a voice audio recording of what the teacher is saying, so they can go back and review that with their notes to make sure that everything that they wrote down was accurate to what the teacher was trying to teach. All right, so that takes us on to tip number 6, as completion of assignments. So teachers in high school will assign homework. It's not just busy work, it's homework for a reason. It may seem like busy work, but it definitely has a purpose, because your homework is to reinforce what you've learned in class and help you retain the information for your test. And you need to remember that you'll only get out of it what you put into it. So if you don't study and you don't do note taking and you don't set time apart for yourself to make you successful, you're not going to get out of it what you want. So if you put a lot of effort in, you're going to get that A and you're going to get what you want out of it. And that moves us on to tip number 7, is to review your notes daily. Now, it doesn't have to be daily, but you should review it a couple times before the test. And especially if you are doing the test over like 6 chapters and it's been the last 6 weeks, you definitely need to go back over all those notes and continue to do that every week, or else all the information that you have is just going to go right outside. It's just not going to be there when you see the test. So making sure to not wait until the night before the test to review your notes is very, very important. Go over your notes daily while the lecture is still fresh in your mind. So if you have it 4th period and you go to lunch, all the information is still going to be in your mind. I know people want to eat lunch with their friends, but maybe sit with your friends for 5 minutes, eat your lunch quickly, and then go to the library and open the PowerPoint, and then you can review the notes, you can add to the notes, and then you can use different tips like Quizlet, and then or make flashcards for the information that just isn't catching. You should also compare your notes with the classmates' notes. You don't have to be in the same class, because sometimes teachers will say something in one class and they won't say it in the other class because they forgot. We're all human. It's not cheating. It's mutually beneficial, because you're getting what they learned and they're getting what you learned. So review your notes to reinforce your learning. Some people do this before sleep because they believe that if you do it before sleep, then while you're sleeping, your body will reinforce that information into your mind. I'm not too sure about that. It works for me. So, just look at it. And a great app to use is Quizlet, because it's on your phone. It's an app. You just click on it. You can do note cards. You can do little games, and it just helps you retain all that information. All right, and that moves us on to tip number 8, which is organizational skills. So making sure to keep yourself organized will save you time, and time is money. In this case, a good grade. So if you're keeping yourself organized, you don't have 12,000 papers in your backpack that you have no idea where your notes are. It just helps you stay focused, and it keeps a uncluttered mind. It keeps you focused, and you're not missing a piece of paper, or you're not trying to look for your homework in the middle of class, something like that. And you should always remember that there's always a place for everything, and everything in its place. So making sure to keep all your study materials, if you have a calculator and you have pencils and pens and a planner, maybe keep all those together. If you have 2 notebooks and a laptop and a book that you like to read, maybe keep all that together, such as a backpack. And if you take your computer out of your backpack, even if you just don't put it back in, put it by it. So, because sometimes you wake up at 5 minutes before class starts and you're rushing out the door, you forget your homework, or you forget your laptop, and then yeah. So just Make sure to be organized. Keep everything in one location. If you know where it is, then you won't lose it. And that moves us on to tip number 9, motivation. So you need to be motivated to work, whether that's, wanting to succeed, wanting to graduate, wanting to pass this class with an A so you can get into that dream school of yours. Whatever it is that makes you motivated, keep it in your mind, because some of your classmates aren't particularly as motivated as you are. So if you keep that in your mind, maybe make it the wall screen of your phone. Whatever works for you. And then think of that class as an obstacle that you must overcome in order to achieve that thing that you want. And then you can set your mind to it. No excuses. Your success is up to you. No one's in your way. Success is up to you. And finally, number 10, commitment. You've started your class. You've gone over the syllabus. The teacher has introduced themselves to you. You're getting to learn your new classmates. Now all you need to do is complete it. Do your best, get the most out of it, and your commitment in the end will pay off with a good grade. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining in for today's episode on study tips and techniques. If you have any questions, you can submit a question form on our Instagram page, Navigating New Horizons Podcast. And make sure to follow us, tag us, all the shebangs. And we'll see you on the next one. Thanks.